Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be the second video officially of this module. This is module 4 where we've been looking at containers, and so far we are considering the first data type we have under containers. We are looking at lists. Now in the previous video we talked about how can we create a list, how can we index a list, and also how we can slice a list. Okay, so if you've not watched that, you should go ahead and watch that video. I'm going to put the link in the description below, so make sure you watch that before you come to this video. Okay, so now in this video we are going to be looking at list methods. So the first question we need to ask ourselves is, what are methods? We've heard this word a lot. Now when you talk about methods, they are simply functions that are associated to a particular data type or a particular object, so they can actually perform some operations on that object. They have they perform some they have these behavioral characteristics. Okay, that means they do something. Basically, those are what you call methods. So in general, methods are functions, though I know we've not discussed about functions. Okay, but in the models to come we are going to talk about functions, and then you better understand, and when we go into class you see how you can create your own custom methods and your own custom object also. So in this video we are looking at list method. These are things that are already inbuilt into list. They are methods that are already defined for a list. You can use them to manipulate a particular list. Okay, so let's just move down to our IDE and see what we can do. So let's create a list. So I'm going to create a list of numbers, so I'll call it numbers. So it should be one. I'll just have some random numbers there. So I have a list of numbers. So we've already seen this to check the length of a particular list. This is not a method. This is actually an inbuilt function. The length function is not a method, though it's performing something on a list, but it's an inbuilt function. Okay, so we are just looking how many items we have here. We have 6. But now what do we actually mean by the methods here? What are the methods we have associated with lists? So the first method we are going to look at is how to add items to a particular list. So for you to add items to a list, you use the append method. So I already have this list, numbers. If I say append -10, this is going to add a new item to the list. So if you run this and now you check what numbers we have -10 there, check the length of numbers, you see that it is actually one item greater than, now it is 7. So the first one we have there is append. So what append does is it adds an item to the ends of the list. Always take note, append adds an item to the ends of the list. So what if you don't want to append, what if you want to add item to the end of the list? What other position can you add? How do you want to add item to any other position on this list? Let's say I want to add item here. If I'm trying to add item, it means I want to shift 5 to the right and put an item in place of 5. Okay, so what I'm going to do there is I'll use a method, they call it insert. So there's another method called insert. So you can briefly check what a particular method does by just saying shift tab, press it twice. It's going to tell you what a method does. So you say it takes the index, it takes the objects. Okay, so what it's saying here is it has 2 parameters. The first parameter it takes is where do you want to put this item. So for example, I want to put a 20 here before 5. So I'll say, okay, this 5 is already taking index 1, this is index 0, this is index 1. So I say, okay, I want to put something at index 1. And what do I want to put at index 1? It is a 20. So what this is going to do is to shift 5 to the right and then put 20 in place of 5. So let's run this and see. And let's see what numbers are. Now if you notice what's going on here, unlike when we did that of strings, whenever you're trying to perform, you have a method acting on a particular string, it's more like creating a new string. Okay, that means the original string is not being modified. That's because strings are immutable. When it comes to lists, we said lists are mutable objects. So majority of the methods you're going to see here, they are what you call mutators. Okay, they are mutators because what they do is they modify a particular object. Whenever a particular method is modifying an object, it's performing this operation in place. If it's performing the operation in place, you call that kind of a method or that kind of function a mutator. So okay, so it's mutating what you have there. So that's what we have. That's the kind of method we have. So you can see it is modifying the original list. Now what we have here is 2 dots and the rest of that. Okay. One other question we might ask ourselves is, hey, what if this is meant to be a 10 and then we want to change it? Okay, in that case, this 5 is meant to be a 10. You can't, you can go ahead and remove this 5 and then put a 10 there, and that's going to be a long process. So I want to show you something quite simple. It's not a method actually, but I just say let me mention it now because I didn't do it in the last video. So for me to change this guy is in index 2, so I can simply say numbers of 2 is equal to a 10. This is automatically going to modify, so you can assign. This is modifying the item you have at index 2. So if I run this and I check what we have in numbers, you see that that has been changed down to 10. So take notes, this is not a method, but I said I should mention it at once, okay, before I forget again. Okay, so let's proceed. So that's what you call, these are what you call methods. So we have a whole lot of methods in that's associated with list. So you can just press a tab and then you see all other methods we have there. So we have the clear, the copy, and the rest of that. So what I want to look at next is the count function. So what the count does is it looks for how many times a particular item occurs in the list. For example, if I say okay, count 2, hey, it's saying that 2 actually occurs 2 times. Is that true? Okay, I have a 2 here, I have a 2 here. Okay, that's correct. What about if we have 10? What if we say counts 10? What's it going to give us as a result? That's a 1. Now you can also count for something you don't already have in the list. So I can say count for something that is not in the list. Count how many times we have 80, and then it will return 0 times because we don't have 80 in the list. So aside from count, what else we have? So we also have let's go down to index. So what you're basically doing here is this: you want to return the index of a particular item. Maybe I don't know the index of 7. I can say okay, or 8, give me the index of 8. Now this is giving me an error because there is no 8 in the list. So that's one thing you have with index. When what you're looking for is not in the list, it will give you an error. But if it is in the list, it will give you the first occurrence of that item. For example, if I say give me the index of 7, it will give me the first occurrence of 7. So the first occurrence of 7 is at index 3. So let's see if that's right. So we have index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3. So you can see there is another occurrence of 7, but it's looking at the first occurrence of 7. Okay, so that's what you have for the index. It's giving the first occurrence of a particular item. Then we have other methods there. Let's see other useful ones. We have sort, we have reverse, we have, okay, let's see the reverse. So what reverse does is it will pick a particular list and then reverse it. As simple as that. Okay, so it's also a mutator. So if I say number.reverse and let's check what we have in numbers, you see that it has been reversed because initially what we had -10 was the last item, but now we have -10 as the first item. Okay, so it has reversed the list already. Now we know that there's another way you can do this, but basically you do that to return. Suppose you don't want to modify the original item but you want to reverse it. What can you do? Remember we did this in strings, that we can say column -1. So this is not going to modify the original list because this is not a method. This is going to return something else. So you can see I've reversed what I have here, but I've not modified numbers because numbers is still going to remain in its previous form. Okay, so this is returning something new. It's another way you can use to modify or to reverse a particular list. Okay, so what else do we have? What else can we look for? Now let's look at pop. So what pop does is this: it's used to remove items from a list. Okay, so by default, if you use just pop without an argument, it will return the last item in the list. So it's going to return 2. Now pop is going to remove and return the item. So you can get that item and then possibly make use of it for something. Okay, because pop will remove it and then return it. So if I say pop, you can see it is returning 2. If I go back and check your numbers, I'm not going to have 2 as the last item again. So if I go ahead and pop again, okay, it's going to remove 20. I'll go ahead and check numbers. There is no 20 there again. So it's returning, it's removing an item and then it's returning it. But the question becomes, what if I don't want to pop out, I don't want to remove the last item, I want to remove the item? Yeah, so what do I do? So in that kind of situation, pop also accepts an argument. So I can say, hey, I want to remove the item. What index is it? That's index 0, 1, 2, 3. So I can say, give me what's that index 3. But let's not say 3 because it will be a lovely coincidence. Let's say, give us what is that index 0, 1. Remove what's that index 1. So if I want to remove what's that index 1, I'll give it a 1. So pop takes the index of what you want to remove, and that will remove what is in that index. So now if you go ahead and check what numbers is, you can see that is no longer there. You can also give it a negative index. Okay, I can say remove what's at index -2. This is minus, remember this is -1, this is -2, so I can give it -2 and then it's going to remove that item. So now if I go ahead and check what I have in numbers, I no longer have that item there. Okay, so we have other methods we can actually work on. So I'm going to stop this video here. In the next video, we are going to look at some other methods like the sort method and then the extend and some other ones we have there that are quite useful. Okay, so that's it guys for these videos. As usual, if this video is useful to you, it has helped in any way, go ahead and like, subscribe, and don't forget to share these videos. Please guys, share the videos amongst your friends, your colleagues, and what have you. So I'll put the description in the description below. I'm going to put a link to the playlists and also to other videos. The previous video we have on list, so if this is your first video, you go ahead and watch the previous video as well. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.